Well, it seems like the time has come to speak of Twin Peaks, um, my all-time favorite television series, and the film that spun off from the original series, Fire Walk with Me, is my fourth favorite film of all time. This one's a hard one to tackle. Um, there's a lot to say, um, and I don't want to just repeat and retread what's already been said over and over. I just want to give my take on it. I don't know if it's a valid take. Supposedly, everyone's take on this show is equally valid. Sometimes I feel like the fans get wrapped up in thinking their take, which is sometimes a bit, I don't know, fanciful, even for Twin Peaks. Um, Supersedes, outstrips the intentions or commentary of the creators, David Lynch and Mark Frost, and or their work as it is been captured on film and video. Um, that kind of bothers me, I guess. That's, I guess, what prompted me to finally try to do a video. I don't know how long this will run, and if I'll do more than one, I may end up having to do more than one. Right now, as I'm speaking, I am watching the super duper remastered Blu-ray edition of Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, 1992. By the way, this is a Blue review, just in case you weren't sure. There you go. So anyway, um, I was kind of clutching at straws as to what to um, talk about next, and I'd kind of run my course with the Criterion reviews for now, and recent items I've picked up. My budget has forced me to stop adding to my Blu-ray library at least until the next year, 2021. Um, so in the interim, I'm going to explore what I already have in here. Excuse me, it's not the company, it's not the topic. I've just been working hard. Um, in any case, um, one thing that kind of prompted this was this week I was on Facebook a good bit, as usual, trying to avoid the news feed, which I have been doing since before the election, or you know, since the election went into overdrive, I guess, or maybe underdrive in its case, this one's case. But I went ahead and disconnected from most of my news feed, so I would just get my news about my friends via uh, notification. Excuse me, or group notifications, or I would do work in the groups that I owned or pages I managed. Um, or I would just talk to my friends on Facebook on Messenger, mano a mano, or in groups. We have a couple of little off to the side groups, but mainly one about music where we share music. Um, but anyway, uh, I was getting a bunch of notifications from the Twin Peaks groups I'm in that I'm still in, and I think I'm in about five. Um, at the time that season three, or the return, however you want to call it, Twin Peaks came out in 2027. By the time when that aired, I got up to a staggering, perhaps, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 groups I was in. But once that season had run its course, I started dropping the groups because I felt as though the speculation was getting more fan indulgent than it was insightful about the actual work or respectful to the actual work. Um, so I just kind of detached myself, disconnected from that a bit. In the meantime, though, I was still meeting some incredible people through Twin Peaks fandom that I'm really good friends with on Facebook. People I think are really some cool people that I've met over the years. Um, a number of whom I chat with time to time. Some of my current favorites are Luca De Paoli and Rebecca Charlotte Hope, and one of my all-time favorites, who I met on Facebook before I knew he was as big or bigger Twin Peaks fanatic than me, is Justin R. LaFleur and his husband Daniel Roebuck LaFleur. Um, awesome experts on Twin Peaks, and all of them have had experience meeting in person cast members and creative personnel from Twin Peaks, which I've never had the honor um, of doing. I almost went to a Mad Monster party, or was it Days of the Dead? It was one of those two conventions in 2017, or perhaps 2018, I suppose, when 2017's The Return was still very fresh in everyone's mind. And there was going to be like 3 or 4 people who had appeared in The Return who were going to be guests. Ray Wise, who's also from the old series, and Ernie Hudson, Matthew Lillard, and somebody else pretty cool, but I forgot who. Now, I think that was the Days of the Dead series of conventions. Across the country, though, the Days of the Dead conventions, uh, these guys appear, but also Cheryl Lee, Laura Palmer herself, and some other interesting guests appeared. So that was a time when some of the friends I know online met some of them. Um, I really wish I could have gone to a convention and just gotten, if not photo ops, at least just little quick photos and autographs from all the people involved that I could meet. Since I don't think there's going to be like a Twin Peaks convention anytime soon of all the living noteworthies. So I think they're kind of them showing up at horror and sci-fi and comic book conventions is a very cool thing and very natural and logical thing. Um, so now I'm watching Fire Walk with Me, and we come to the body of Teresa Banks, the first victim of Killer Bob, the demonic entity that possessed Leland Palmer um, during the original series. And of course, this film is a prequel to the television series, so it's even in some countries it's even subtitled "The Last 7 Days of Laura Palmer's Life," which I think was originally going to possibly be a subtitle um, of the film proper. But what can you say, Lynch? I mean, I don't know that guy. He's my favorite director, and always blows me away. I understand now he's going to developing a series for Netflix unrelated to Twin Peaks. So hope that's pretty good. I'm kind of on the outs with Netflix after they canceled Daredevil. We don't speak anymore really. I don't subscribe, but and I actually think Prime's original series, uh, as well as CBS All Access and Showtime's, are all kind of exceeding the quality of Netflix's original series, which they have quite a few great ones and exclusive ones. I mean, obviously the Marvel ones, which I was very into, and Black Mirror, which is just a masterpiece. But in any case, what am I trying to say here? Well, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I have on Blu-ray of Twin Peaks and just kind of go through it, what they are, and you know, just little notes here and there. And that might be all I'll do this time around. So, just prior to the airing of, I believe it was just prior to the airing of The Return in 2017, or it could have been while I was waiting, the run up to the Blu-ray release of The Return in December of 2017. I went ahead and purchased on Blu-ray everything that had been released on Twin Peaks in one set uh, prior to that time. Originally, I think there was a box set called The Entire Mystery, and then it was kind of downsized a little, maybe not packaging was changed a little bit, and I think extra features maybe were scaled down a bit, but the meat of it was the same, which was the entire original series, seasons 1 and 2, the film Fire Walk with Me, and the missing pieces, which kind of constitute its own kind of mosaic piece, which is 90 minutes of deleted scenes from Fire Walk with Me. And a lot of the content in those deleted scenes had a great deal of effect on season 3, The Return. So anyway, this is what I ended up getting at Amazon. It was on sale for like $40 at the time, down from like 60 or something. So can you see that? Yes, Twin Peaks, the original series, Fire Walk with Me, and the missing pieces. This, of course, is Laura Palmer, her iconic prom picture. I guess that's it, yearbook picture, and then her wrapped in plastic post-mortem. Here's the nice chevron pattern, of course, this time in blue rather than the customary red and black. It's in blue and black. And you open this guy up, and it basically gives you the table of contents for all but the final disc. There's a number of discs in here. I believe there is, yes, there's 8 discs. There's 9 discs total in the set. This is like Twin Peaks porn here. And there's some people's idea of that might be something really frightening, so maybe I shouldn't use that phrase. And then there you have it, the entire series. And then the disc that's in my player, which would go right here, is the Fire Walk with Me, the complete film, and the missing pieces, and another special feature. And to be honest, I've forgotten what that other special feature is. Now, there's some special features on the discs as well, and most of them are new to this set. Now, on DVD, I formerly had the entire series, but kind of piecemeal. They had not originally put out the entire series all together as one experience. They had put out season 1, which is only 7 episodes, and it did not include the pilot. Go figure. Much less the international kind of theatrical cut of the pilot, which is kind of just almost like an alternate reality version of season 1. It just it's odd. I don't really personally count it as canon in my head canon for Twin Peaks, because it's not so much that it changes a lot of things, it abridges so much and jams so much together and loses the vast majority of the real texture and meat of season 1. It's just like the connective tissues and nothing else, just the interstices, but not the actual pieces of the puzzle. It was prematurely solved, and that's kind of strange, especially considering that Lynch didn't originally want to solve the murder. Now, I don't know when the international pilot came out. I used to know this. I've forgotten. I'm sure Twin Peaks fellow Peaks freak like myself can comment. Hopefully, will comment in the comments below and explain to me or refresh my memory on when the international version was released, and how they got the footage together, that some of which is from later episodes, well into season 1, and I think some that are in season 2, early in season 2, and also some I think that were reshot, either reshot for the movie from the series or vice versa. I used to know all this, but my brain can only contain so much of this fantastic information. But anyway, I had that season 1 box set, and then I picked up a Canadian import DVD of the pilot. And then season 2 came out on DVD, and that was, of course, just 22 episodes. A season that a lot of people disown a lot of that season, including Lynch himself to an extent. But he didn't throw all the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, thanks to Mark Frost and everything, the continuity is really smooth with season three, contrary to what a lot of people say. And even Lynch himself says, I forgot a lot of the stuff I did in season one when I made Firewalk with Me, and I was just doing it intuitively, which is his thing. He's a surrealist. He's an intuitive artist completely, as well as a great craftsman. But um, as far as storytelling, he's very much an intuitive, work from the subconscious, old school surrealist. Um, but Mark Frost has always helped ground him, with his writing and his kind of, soap opera like structures with characters and characterization. Um, but it's it's kind of um, hmm, hard to put into words, really. Uh, but I'll continue. Yes. So anyway, I had all those on DVD. Um, and then they put out the gold box, which had everything. And I was like, I'm not going to upgrade all this stuff. So I I acquired this Blu-ray set, and I was excited, and I embarked on selling the three items that I just mentioned, and it took quite a while, and I finally sold all three of them. I'm pretty sure. I know I sold the pilot, I sold season two, and I'm pretty sure I finally sold season one. Though it's possible. No, I think I did. It took quite a while, months, to sell those. I kept marking them down, and um, I was a little disappointed by the reception afforded them. I guess everyone had already upgraded to Blu-ray and as well, so I'm just gonna guess that might be one of the things. Um, anyway, this set is amazing, and I watched it in its entirety right before I got the set I'm about to show you, which is Twin Peaks: A Limited Event Series. And this is an incredible hard cardboard box cover. Right here we have, with the chevron pattern, splitting him, the duality of Dale. This is, of course, Dale Cooper, the good Dale, the Dale who was trapped in the lodge for 25 years. And this, of course, is Mr. C, the evil Dale Cooper, who was spending the 25 years on Earth, living the life of his doppelganger. And when you open this up, you see this amusing and bemused character called Dougie Jones, Dougie Jones is actually this exact same person, Dale Cooper. Physically, they're the same person. It's just his mind is a little out of whack from some strange electrical currents flowing through him in another dimension. It seems to be what happened anyway. Kind of fried his brain a little bit, and he emerged on Earth after 25 years. But his mind was a bit fried. He was taken for Dougie Jones. Dougie Jones, this character was a thing called a tulpa, which Mr. C mystically created to take his place when the time would come to go back into the lodge. He would send Dougie into the lodge, and he would be off scot-free. Um, so who can interfere with the cosmic forces? I guess Mr. C thought if anybody could do it, he could do it, and eventually Dougie Jones, the construct, the kind of seemingly half brain dead character that Dale had become, eventually he became Dale again. Now, does this imply an integration of Dale and Mr. C? No, but they did have a confrontation. So, of sorts. I mean, kind of an after the fact. Uh, they never actually met per se in season three, living in the flesh, occupying the same place. It just didn't happen that way. You can slide this open. This is also Laura. It's again the famous yearbook photo, except it's inside the golden orb, which this is something that was sent to Earth by a character named Senorita Dido, who existed in the White Lodge. I like the way this looks. And she was the lover and associate of the fireman, aka the Giant, um, who was the character from the previous series, and now we've seen him fleshed out. He apparently is the custodian of the White Lodge. There we go. The whole thing came apart, and they had decided Laura as the one. They had kind of like foretold, ahead of time that her spirit was going to be the decisive, fateful component in the battle against Bob, who was spawned out of the. Wow, it really gets complicated and convoluted. But it's amazing because basically episode 8 of this series called "Got a Light," um, which most people cite as the best episode. Some people claim it's the best single television series episode ever shot, ever aired. Um, I'm not sure. It's got to be in the top 5 though. Certainly, uh, possibly the greatest episode of Twin Peaks, the series, um, ever shot. As far as just ambition and execution, it's pretty flawless. It's like great filmmaking. Um, Unlike with the original series, David Lynch, and Mark Frost worked on every episode together on this series, and actually, season 3. And actually, the return is really now considered like one piece because it was shot essentially like one long piece. It was a 500-page script, I believe, originally, and they were going to try to shoot it to 9 episodes, possibly 10. And then they went up to Lynch, kind of in filming it, fleshed it out, kind of in between the lines, so to speak, and it became an 18 episode opus that ran just under 18 hours. And it is one piece. You can kind of see how he edited after you watch the entire thing, detached from the current of weekly viewing. You can see how something will happen that's seemingly total non sequitur, say in episode 1, like Dr. Jacoby spray painting the golden shovels. And then you don't see Jacoby for several episodes. So watching it weekly, you're kind of like, and you almost forget. But if you watch the whole thing in one sitting, which I have one time, I barely made it through the entire thing in one sitting. I got like to episode 17 and was conking out and sort of saw episode 18. But yeah, I mean, another time I did watch 15 hours solid. I was very intoxicated, increasingly intoxicated, and drawing pictures of my Flickr Street, kept some of my Flickr Street characters, and nursing a broken heart at the time from one of my muses, um, who inspired my character Frankie. And I was like, that was January of late January, early February of 2018, which I'd had this for about 6 weeks or so. I'd already watched it all the way through once. So this whole box I've watched beginning to end like 3 times. But I've seen every episode of the series at least, I'm serious here, at least 10 times. Because this aired weekly as a series and it was something unprecedented, not unprecedented like of all time, but unprecedented in the information age, the internet era. Um, there was a total blackout of information, and everyone had signed these extensive non-disclosure agreements for David Lynch and for Showtime. And so essentially, every week when you watched an episode of The Return, every Sunday, on Showtime, you had no idea what was going to happen. There were no previews. There were no commercials of what was coming. I mean, there were a few kind of teaser commercials, but um, here and there, but they were very minimalist, more evoking kind of a mood than any kind of real plot incidents or scenes. Um, and it was amazing. We were all in suspense. We were going into it blind every week. It was kind of like watching TV back when I was a child. There's a generation now that will not remember this kind of episodic television because of the internet and because of uh, binge watching and streaming series, whole series dropping at one time, and et cetera, et cetera. And I love all those things, but um, it's really true that the experience we had with this Twin Peaks series was reminiscent of something from my generation's youth, and it was something new to the millennials watching this. I'm Generation X, proudly Generation X, and the younger fans I knew were like, "Wow, what's going to happen next week? We don't have a single fucking clue. We don't know what's happening when we're watching it. As it's unfolding, we don't have any fucking clue what is happening." And eventually a mosaic emerges. And that's the beauty of David Lynch. That's the beauty of Twin Peaks and the tapestry of it. So I will soon wrap up this video ere I doth hit the half-hour mark. I'll probably do another one. But I did want to just come full circle and say that, I've been reading some really outre theories that I encountered through notifications in the few Twin Peaks groups I'm still on Facebook. And oh boy, I regretted reading them, and I either unsubscribed or unfollowed or just turned off notifications for those groups because I just felt as though, the answers are in this work. However you choose to interpret it, however you choose to look at it, whatever lens you choose to view it through, and whatever you're bringing to the table, which is important. And Lynch has acknowledged that, really, that what you're bringing to the table is almost as important, maybe as important as what the artist is bringing. So it's going to affect your perceptions. It's kind of like when Jodorowsky released El Topo and he put out the critic proof manifesto that if you are great, then El Topo is great. If you are not great, then El Topo is not great. So, or the whole Charles Manson, I'm just a mirror, you know, kind of thing. So, anyway, food for thought, and perhaps I will share some more of my Twin Peaks thoughts, and I don't want to say wisdom or insights because I'm not going to declare myself any kind of expert, but I am a passionate watcher, and I've watched and dissected it enough and know enough of the reference that went into it, the cultural reference, the literary precedents, antecedents for it, and cinematic ones. And I kind of get the context of where the old series rests and where the film rests and where the return rests, and then where the points where they overlap and the points where they diverge. So I'd love to talk about that at some time in the future. There is a Twin Peaks video on YouTube that I would also like to discuss when next we meet about this topic. And I won't talk about it now, but it's something that also kind of spurred me to do this video. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the music up here and fade out with you guys. Badalamenti. Such a great theme, man. Anyway, thanks for watching, and much love to all you fellow Twin Peaks freaks. Love you all. Take care.